Heyo, Stoic here. Welcome to the Bedrock Guide. Today we're going to be making a gas-powered concrete farm. Yep. I love this thing. I've been using it on my SMP and it works just great. It can be manual. It can be AFKable as well. So yeah, let's check things out. So we got to have a crafting table in order to make this work. And we got to have sand and gravel and lots of it because guess what? Just making 8 concrete powders is going to take 4 sand and 4 gravel, as well as 1 dye of your choice. So it really starts to add up. I mean, you can get how many we get 2 stacks from a stack of sand and a stack of gravel. We use up 16 dye. So we're using a lot of resources pretty quick. Fortunately, the dye doesn't go away very quick, but the sand and the gravel disappear quickly. Unfortunately, we don't have concrete yet. We just have the powder, which actually is really cool because it's got a nice texture to it and it looks pretty sweet, but it is also something that just drops and gravity is impacted by it because it is both sand and gravel. The other thing we got to do is get this stuff wet in order to change it into concrete. And you can see you can put water right next to these sources and already it is just a pain. And you can put it right on top, all different kinds of ways to make this work. But you have to convert it. And there's all kinds of different ways to do this. And one popular way that I used to use a long time ago was just to stack things up just like this while I'm in survival and just use just a whole stack all the way up. And then you just drop in some water right in between, pick up your water again, and then you can go and mine this. But then you have to mine it all back down and pick it all back up. And this can go kind of fast if you're consistent and you just really want to spend time doing it. Another cool way you can get your concrete converted is to kind of have this stairway. We've got an infinite water source right here in the middle because these 2 stairs are waterlogged. And then you can just place them here in the middle and then you can mine it back up. And that last one didn't want to go. I'm guessing because we're at the end of the line and it's just not going to do it. Anyway, so there is a little bit there, but the common theme here is that even if you make a big tower or you lay things out, I still have to go back and mine all of this. So I'm mining sand, I'm mining gravel, I'm placing powder, and then I'm mining it again. Well, we can make this thing a little easier on yourself by having a gas-powered concrete farm, and the gas is going to break our blocks, and we're going to get them back. We're not going to lose our concrete. They're going to fall into a nice little water stream, and we're going to get all of it collected for us. So we're going to eliminate a step we just don't want to have to take. So that is going to be a nice thing for us moving forward. All right, so let's take a look at how this farm is going to work. So there's a couple of mechanics that we're using in this farm, and the cool thing about it is we're going to be pretty safe the whole journey, which is pretty important with some gas. We're going to look in this chest. All of this stuff has already filtered down into a dropper right here. I'm going to grab one, and you only want to have 1 piece of concrete powder in your inventory, and preferably in this first spot. That way you can keep it ready to go. The idea here is once you place the powder, it's going to send a signal to this piston to push it, and it's going to push it right into some water, and that's going to change it into concrete itself. Once we build up enough, it will push it farther into this arena right there. And the nice thing is we're also going to steal a signal here and send a signal to our dropper, which is going to push a brand new concrete powder right into our inventory so that we can continue to place these things. The other key element here is we've got our gas, and our gas is going to sit up there. We're going to turn this on. It is ready to attack us, and you can see that it is missing us every single time. We're in just the right orientation that this gas is going to miss us every single time. You can see I'm kind of floating on the very edge of that dropper, and yeah, I don't know. This is a game perk, you could call it. So when we're doing this farm, let me see. I'll grab one more of these. Just want to make sure I've got just this one, and I'm going to push 4 out there. This orientation is lined up so that when this gas shoots, it's going to hit 4 concrete blocks at the same time. So let me grab one more here. Misclicked a little bit. So when you're doing this manually, you can push it out 1, 2, 3, 4. So every 3 seconds, this gas is going to shoot. So you can place these in a line or a big tower, whatever you want to do. But this is going to break your concrete for you. Now, if you are going to go AFK with an auto clicker, you're going to have to, I'll put some settings up later, but it'll go a lot slower because we have to wait for this gas to shoot, and we have to make sure we're not overloading this. Because if we overload this, I'm going to try to click this in as fast as I can. You can see I've already passed the shooting area. And if I block it over here with like Obsidian, then it's just going to screw up some of our redstone that's over in that location. So it's slower when you go AFK, but you're AFK, which is pretty nice. And you can see we just let this thing go. So if this ever happens, you're going to want to break this because you can get concrete that'll pop up and land on there and then you'll lose it. So if you're going to use an auto clicker, I'll give you the timing for it so that it works out. But if you're just going to go manually do it, get it out there. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is going to get you 75 stacks of concrete made. Because every 3 seconds, this is going to shoot down 4 of these guys. And yeah, it's going to go pretty quick. So one thing to note about this ghast is it's pretty fickle. And I don't know what it is, but we can't figure it out. There's several of us that have made comments about these ghasts. I think Slack Lizard was one that made a point of it. Is that if you are going to go AFK here and it's targeting you and you close up, if you get rid of its line of sight, well, and you open it back up, there's a chance that it's just not going to want to attack you anymore. It's just not going to be interested in you. And from what I found is that you got to leave the area for a long period of time and then you can come back. Now, a long period of time could be 20 minutes. That's the best one I've done. Going through a portal is just not going to work either. If you can shut down your server, that would work. If you can reset your realm, that would work as well. But if you log in and out in a single player world, that'll work just fine. But if you're in a big group of people, you don't have the ability to reset things. You're just going to have to wait or plan to make sure that you're here and you can close this thing and you can wait a long time to come back to your ghast. All right, so let's get started on this tutorial. I know you've been waiting for it. So let's see, we got to know which way is north because how we get this ghast in and where we go AFK matters for this farm. So we're going to need to know which way is north. And you can see that my Z coordinates are going into the negative direction. That means we are going north. You can also look at the sun, see that that is setting, so that's west. So that means that is north as well. So we got a couple different options to figure out which way is north. The next thing we want to do is just find an open area that you want to have. You can put it in a densely populated area as well, but we are going to be doing some portal linking, so that's going to be important. And you're going to have to get that very accurate later on in order to make sure that your ghast shows up in the farm and not somewhere else. But the second thing we're going to want to do is we're going to put a little outline for our collection system. So we're going to go 9 blocks in the north direction. And then once we've done that, we're going to go to the west. You can see the sun is setting, and we're going to go 11. We're going to count this first one. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. And then we're going to round it back out over in this direction. Dig out this last block right here all the way to the end and go 1 past it. And then we can dig that down 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. Because we're dealing with a ghast, I have found that you're going to want to have an obsidian floor in here. You don't need it everywhere, but for the sake of this tutorial, we'll just go ahead and fill this in. Obsidian's pretty easy to get. You can find this stuff in the end very, very easily. Big cave, you can make your own as well. So just take out this floor and we're going to fill it in. We don't want to have to repair it later. We could lose our materials, our concrete, whenever this floor gets broken because it'll just get caught. So fill this in, and next we're going to grab our water and we're just going to put it along this back side just like this, and it will fall just short of this last leg. Put it here in this corner because we're going to go to this lower area. You can see it's dropped down already. Put in your chest, double chest down here below, and grab 2 hoppers. Put them in line so that they're making their way into this chest. You can test it too just by throwing something in here. You can see that the water is just going to take it down, get caught in those hoppers, and there we go. All right, so we're going to get the first part of our tower in here. So we're going to come out for some blocks here. It's hard to see. So 1, 2, 3, 4. On the fourth one, we get rid of those 3. We're going to go up 6 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From here, we're going to put in a little platform, a little 3 by 3 platform. And now we're going to chisel it out just a little bit. So first, we're going to come over here to the northeast corner, break that one out, and we can get rid of this and this as well. So we're left with this kind of configuration. So we're going to raise that one up in that location and this one right here. So you can see this is how things are looking. Grab your piston and we can put it in that spot. And we're going to put a little redstone in right there. 1, 2, 3. And then grab our redstone torch and put it in this location. We can test this just by placing in a block to see if it's just going to push and see that it is. So our redstone is working the way we want it to. All right, so let's move forward on this one. Get a temporary block right there and right there. So we're going to have a glass block in that location. And then we can put in some more blocks. And this is where our water is going to sit in that location. So let's keep this one right there. And you can see that we have this orientation. Grab your pistons and place them 1, 2. We're going to come down here. The temporary block, use temporary as well. We got some obsidian, we'll go around the corner and we'll bring one down like that and bring 2 up like this. This stuff is to help protect our redstone just in case you're not standing in the perfect spot. It'll keep the redstone from getting destroyed by a blast. Come around the back side and we'll just bring it all the way around. The next thing we want to do is break out these 2 green ones that we had for temporary. We can put in our water, which will flow right back down into this water stream. Once we get concrete mixed up, the powder mixed up, it'll stop this flow from going all the way down, messing up kind of the flow of things. But until then, we're just fine. Grab your torch and put it inside this little opening, and then we're going to have some redstone that goes all the way around to the back side. The trick here is that when you place a block, it gets energized by the torch, which then would send a signal into this redstone and then all the way around. And this will eventually turn on our dropper. It also, once we get all the way over here, this is going to energize a block that ends up right here and come up around here and energize our pistons to push them away. So when we get moving on this, our redstone is already doing what we want it to, and our gas is going to shoot it right here in the middle, and we're going to get all 4 of these concrete blocks. All right, with our redstone in place, we can go ahead and place in another block to get it even with these. And we're going to jump up and we're going to get a dropper in here. You can see it's kind of finicky. You're going to have to jump and place it so that it is the dot is facing up, because that's where we're going to be standing, is right on here. And from here we can grab our another hopper, and so we have to feed this with some concrete powder. The hopper in place in your chest, double chest on the side, and so you can fill that in as well. That column in place, we can now jump down here and we can just put in some ladders all the way up. We can break this last one, make sure the water stream is right into our collection system. So while you're out here, you can just climb on up to our AFK position. After that, go ahead and place in some blocks on the outside here. We need 3 blocks, 1, 2, 3, off to the side. We're going to place a lever right here, and we're going to put in our safety mechanism for this gas. So we're going to come up in this location. We're going to end up placing 3 torches and 3 more blocks. So just in this orientation, you start to see that some of these are changing. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 solid blocks and 1, 2, 3 torches. All right, come to the top of this newly built redstone ladder, and you might have to scaffold up or use some temporary dirt to get all the way up here. But once we're here, we're going to look north, and we're going to turn to the east, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. And so we have a length of 8 blocks all the way across. I like using glass here so I can see what's going on with our gas. It also helps prevent anything from spawning inside of our gas chamber later on. Once we've got this line up, go ahead and come out 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to come 1, 2, 3. And we're going to build it up by 1 on both sides and come out like this. So you can start to see this profile of 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Once we've done that, we're going to need to get in some temporary blocks. So you can throw one in right here on the edges because we're going to do a little bit of work. You might have to scaffold out just a little bit. Grab your sticky piston, put on the edge right there, right on the here. Break that temporary block. Come over to the other side and do the same thing. We can put in 2 sticky pistons in those locations. After that, we want to grab some blocks to help block our gas from seeing us in a little bit. So now we've got this where we can see we've got a 2x2 opening, and our gas is going to be sitting pretty close to that area. To finish out our redstone, come back to our redstone ladder and put in a repeater on both sides of this, and we can put a redstone dust. You can see it's already lit up because we've got the lever in the on position, and that will extend our pistons out in both locations. The next thing we're going to want to do is come up top, bring yourself up here to where the pistons are, and we're going to place in obsidian right on top of these 2 pieces of redstone, and we're going to put it on the east side. And the reason why I'm doing this in orientation matters is because when we throw this gas from the nether into the overworld, it's going to come out onto the west side of this portal, and that's where we're going to capture it in a little bit. So what we can do now is put in our portal just a regular minimum size portal, just like that. All right, so this next part's pretty important because if we don't get the glass in the right spot, we will lose the gas from suffocation, or it'll just get stuck and we'll have to kill it and get another one. So this first part, we're just going to come all the way across, use some glass in this case. I like seeing this thing. You really don't want it, you don't have to. You can build this up by 1. So we're going to go a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to build it up. And this is going to be our first wall all the way across in this location. It has to be even with the north side of this portal. This next part, we're going to come out on the back side of this portal. And this is kind of nice because we're going to need this anyway. So build yourself a nice 2x4 platform, but then we can come out this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to build this up on this side. So this will be our other side of our enclosure. Build it all the way up to the top of this obsidian portal. All right, we've got 2 walls in place. And so let's come down. Let's come back down to where our ghast is going to be. Pick out this lime concrete and put it right here. This is where our ghast is going to get captured in a minecart, and it will sit forever and ever and ever. So once we've got that in place, we can kind of fill in the rest of this by branching out until we're even with the edge of this wall. And then we can come across like this, and we can build this platform so it's nice and smooth. It'll keep everything inside, and it'll also blind the gas to everything else while we're working in our area. To fill out the other side, come over here, and we're just going to make our way across until we just get past our redstone, and then we're going to fill this part in as well until we get all the way here. You can see we're overlapped on that side, which is just fine because that is where the rest of our wall is going to go. Once you've done that, you can fill in the floor. We do have some redstone openings. I can't see through that, which is very fortunate for us. We can fill in the rest of the floor. You can also now fill in the exterior edges of this. So to recheck your numbers, if you're going to be using, if you're right here in the northeast corner, we're going to be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We come to the east side. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then we fill in this whole box. The next thing you want to do is come to the top of your obsidian portal and fill this in. If you make it even with the obsidian, you will trap your gas. The nice thing about the glass also is that it will allow the gas to kind of move around just enough to get to where we want it to be. From here, we're going to place a rail, just a regular rail, on this location in a minecart. Just a regular minecart, no hopper, no chest, nothing like that. We don't want to hit it. See how I bumped it? It's now in the wrong position, so we got to reset it right there. What you can do now is kind of break a block and just try to make sure you get that rail itself. It's so hard to see, but I do have it outlined. Break it. The cart will reorient itself, which is just fine. Fill in this block. And now we're ready to get our ghast. Grab your anvil and a name tag. Let's go ahead and get this thing filled out. Subscribe. Yes. What a great name. I love that name. And now we're ready for gas to come inside here. This platform is pretty important because when we, just so you're not scared when it happens, we're going to use the same portal as the ghast. And so when we come in, we're going to be standing right here looking in this direction. So when you come in, you just go backwards and fall off, which is safer than a ghast hitting you. Or you can move backwards and off to the side so the ghast can't see you. So that'll be important later on. Just be ready for that when you walk through. And we'll walk through that in a little bit. So before we light this portal up, we're going to need to know where this portal is because we got to link it. There's other portals nearby and we could link to those and we just don't want to. So we're going to figure out exactly where this is in the overworld. We're going to come to the north side of this portal and we're going to look at these coordinates. Write them down and then we're going to divide them by 8. So when I do that, I end up getting nether coordinates of -19, a y coordinate, and 82. So in the nether, we want to place a portal right there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to walk through this and we're going to end up somewhere in the end or into the nether. And in this case, it's where I was doing my trial runs. So I'm not anywhere near where I need to be. You can see that my coordinates are 7, 64, and 110. So we got to go all the way to our coordinates, which were -19 and then 82. Almost there, 1, 2. And from here, I'm going to want to go 21 blocks into the east-west direction, which is the X coordinate. So I'm going to fill that. I'm going to dig that out. And then I'm also going to want to go 30 blocks into the Z direction. So I'm going to dig all that out as well. So I'm going to dig out a big box, and I'm going to go up to Y120 as well and dig all of that out. And this is just a nice, safe, easy way to get your ghast, and we can put it through a portal into our farm. Okay, you can see that I've got this nice, big, open area now, and I'm going to fill in some of these other areas so mobs do not come in. And what we're going to do is find those coordinates, our first coordinates. So we had talked about -19 for X and 82 for Y, or Z, sorry. And what we can do now is grab some obsidian and we're going to come all the way across. We can't have a portal bigger than 21 blocks in the Y direction or the X or Z direction. So 1. So this is 20 blocks down here, which will help us maximize the big opening that we need. And I'm going to bring this up as high as I can go because I know that's definitely not 21 blocks. We're going to make a big portal for our ghast, and then we're going to test it to make sure that it's going to fit. You can see you're going to have some buddies dropping in already. And another thing I recommend is kind of make a little pit here, depending on what biome you're in. You might have magma cubes that are going to want to try to jump into your portal. You definitely want to make it at least 1 block deep so that nothing can jump into it, like a pigman or piglin or anything else that might be out there in the biome that you're in. Now, if you're in a warped wood forest biome, well, you got to reconsider where your concrete farm is going to be, so that's very important to think about. So what we're going to do is we're going to light this up. We're going to stay, when we enter this portal, we're going to want to stay as close as we can to this opening. We're going to go through, and this should connect right to our farm that we've been working on. So here we are. Perfect. Now you can see I came out through this side, the west side of this portal, and go back through. You can see I'm here in this big open area. Now, we want this gas to be able to float around just like we've got shown, and it'll make its way eventually into this portal. Now, this might take a little bit of time, but you can help yourself out just by coming back in here. Just dig out a little bit of a hole, grab yourself a door. I prefer the door where you can kind of see through it. It's acacia one. Maybe come out here, place it right there. And then, well, it looks like it disappeared already. So let's go ahead and check things out. Maybe it's already in here. Yep, it's already in here. And I walked backwards to get out of the way because that gas can't see you. Our gas is now trapped in the minecart that's sitting right there. When we hit this lever, it can see you in our location. So I'm going to turn that off, and we're going to kill this gas real quick just so we can do this test one more time. So came through our portal. I'm going to come to the back side here. I'm going to hide might want to get yourself a good bow because we are going to have mobs that are going to spawn in this area that are not gas, and that's just going to ruin your spawn cap for the area. And just got to be patient. You can move backwards a little bit to give more spawning locations down there, because if you're too close, you're just not going to have enough. But I'm going to show you what you're just going to look for while this thing is flying around. We got our ghast. It's hanging out. It's doing its thing. Again, let's just be patient. It'll fly over there eventually, but we'll just hang out until then. Make sure your door is closed, otherwise it's going to look for you. I'm in creative, and we can, it's like a game. Yeah, it did it. Yes. Oh, that was so great. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the same portal. We've got this big opening. Now we can come across, and we're going to try to go through the portal, like I said, where we wanted to. Otherwise, it might put us in a new area because this is a really big portal. So we're going to jump through. And as soon as I get through, I'm going to go backwards. You can see that this ghast is not doing what we wanted to do. It is not down in the cart, which means we got to kill it. So we're going to get rid of this one, and we're just going to do it again. And there it went. Yes. So let's go check this one out. Again, come to the side. And then back up really quick. Now this time you can see that this thing is in there. It's not moving around. It's in our cart, centered up really nice. So this is exactly where we want it. So if I were in survival, I would be on this side. At this point, I'm going to break our portal, fill this in some capacity, grab our name tag, and there. Our ghast is now named. It's safely inside. This portal is no longer needed, so it's not going to connect to it, and we can reconnect our other portals in the area as necessary. All right, our ghast is in there. So I'm going to switch over to survival. Let's see, game mode. Survival. Sure nothing's around here. I'm going to just jump up here. I'm going to feed our chest full of concrete powder. Get it all in there. In fact, I want to save one of them just for me. So you can see I've got a variety of colors, and it just won't matter because as long as you just have one concrete powder in your inventory, then you should be fine. Now, we've tested all of our redstone from earlier. Now, what we want to do is come all the way out. I'm going to shift click if I'm on PC, so I'm going to crouch and move all the way out here. You can see kind of crouching, and I'm standing on what looks like nothing. Seems silly. But I'm going to come all the way out here to the edge and then just stand up. And now I am on this block, but I'm not really. You don't want to have any other blocks in the area or you will not be in the correct position. What we can do now is go ahead and turn our switch on. The ghast sees us, shoots at us, and now we're ready to roll. So you can see I got a variety of blocks coming out. Wait till you've got it right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's ready to hit. 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the picture. That's what you can do. This farm is operational. Thank you, ghast. All right, so the other thing you can do is have an Autoclicker. Yes, I've downloaded this one from an external source, and it's up to you if you want to trust the external source or not. I did. I will leave a link in the description from where I got it from. There's lots of download buttons. Be sure you're clicking on the right one, or if you don't feel safe doing it, then this farm can be done manually. And yeah, there's just multiple options here. But if you're going to be using this Autoclicker, this is how fast I've been doing it. So every 2 seconds and 2 1/4 seconds, so 250 milliseconds there. And then I'm going to change my mouse button to right click. And when I'm ready, I just hit my start button. And this will be slow. It's slower. You can tell that it's already slow. And it's going to have multiple ghast shots without hitting the concrete. So it's much slower. I'm just going to say it. But you can go AFK. You don't have to sit there and click in one location the whole time. You can just walk away. So you can pull in about almost 27 stacks of concrete when you go AFK. But if you're going to click it manually, you'll get 3 times as much. So you get about 75 stacks of concrete when you're manually clicking this farm. So you can see that this is working. change perspective a little bit. Yeah, there we go. You can see what's happening here. That we are clicking very slowly, but it's clicking. I don't have to do. When you're ready, you can just hit an F6 button and it will turn it off. So if you do have a console, I don't know how you would do an auto clicker. Maybe you've got a button masher or something, but you can't just spam it. Unfortunately, you have to be precise in this farm. So you can see I ran out of concrete. I'm ready to stop this. You want to kind of time your stoppage. Let him shoot, turn it off, and it won't blow up anything that's up there. And you're going to collect. You can see that because we're near the ground, we are close to where skeletons can shoot you. So in my SMP, I put up a little wall to kind of block everything. And the other thing you want to do is, even though we've got glass up here, you're going to want to put in some slabs. So let's slab this thing up real quick. And you can see we want to make sure that we are safe from any kind of phantoms that may pop up. So you can do the whole thing if you want to. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, do the whole thing. Or you can just concentrate on where your AFK position is, which would be pretty much in the center. But at that point, you might as well just do the whole thing. On my SMP, I closed the whole thing just to be safe. And here's our farm. All right, thanks everyone for joining me on the Bedrock Guide. I'm glad that you were able to come here. Please, if you liked what you saw, hit that subscribe button. And if you liked it as well, hit that like button. Leave some comments, hopefully some positive ones. Some constructive ones always help. And maybe we can come up with some better farms together. We can build this community together. So thank you for joining me. And hopefully this works for you. Bye-bye.